Hi ladies, firstly congratulations on your exciting news. I'm so excited for you because you are all so much further ahead than me. I don't have any children, but I know how amazing it is and what an incredible journey you guys are going to have. Things are very different at the moment to how we'd like them to be, and from that point of view, it just means that you just need to be more prepared. You need to have more tools in your toolkit so that you can pull them out and be more empowered and feel more confident and have a sense of clarity when it comes to breastfeeding. And I really want to help provide that for you. My name's Geraldine Miskin. I've been working with babies for over 20 years, and my aim is to debunk all the breastfeeding myths, but also to give you practical skills to help you to really enjoy breastfeeding your baby. So a couple of things that mums have been asking me now are, with midwife visits becoming more and more scarce, and with there being no gauge on the boob to know whether your baby has had enough milk or not had enough milk, what are the telltale signs to help you to know that your baby is going to get enough milk? Now, in terms of breastfeeding, your body's always going to give you whatever you drain or whatever your baby drains. So as long as your baby has latched onto the breast and is feeding really nicely, your body will always replace that. So there's a very, very clever little synchronization between your body and your baby, and they work together so beautifully. So how are we going to fail-proof this? The one thing I want you all to do is to wake your babies up and offer them milk at least every 3 hours. And that's roughly every 3 hours. Try to keep it close to 3 hours just so that you get as many feeds into the day as you possibly can. And we always calculate feeds from the start of one feed to the start of the next feed. Now, feeds can vary in length. So, some babies will feed very, very quickly, and other babies are very laid back and they just want to, enjoy the whole experience. But there are ways that we can speed it up. So typically what I want you to do is I'd like you to offer first breast, and you can expect your baby to feed for sort of 10 to maybe 15, sometimes 20 minutes. At which point they become so nice and full because they've got all your warm breast milk, they skin to skin with you, and they just want to go to sleep. So at that point, I normally say, let's wake your baby up, let's do some winding, maybe do a nappy change, just get your baby awake again so that you can offer the second side, and your little baba is so hungry and so annoyed at having been naked that they happily latch onto the other side and feed really nicely. Now, often mums will say to me, how long should my baby feed for? Some mums will be told that their baby needs to feed for 40 minutes in terms of getting all the good milk, but that isn't necessarily true. So the way that we look at feeds is we look at how often your baby's swallowing. So if your baby is sucking and swallowing, sucking and swallowing, sucking and swallowing, your baby's swallows are quite close together, which means that your baby's going to fill up quicker, which means that your feeds are going to be shorter. If your baby's doing a suck, 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 swallow, and does that throughout the feed, that's when we get the longer feeds. So does it make sense that it doesn't really matter whether your baby's doing a short feed or a longer feed? It's more about the swallows. So if you find that your baby is on the breast and is doing lots of little sucks, but you can't see any of the big swallows, and when you're looking for a swallow, you're looking for this bit over here. So when your baby is sucking, it goes up and down really quickly. And when your baby swallows, this bit drops. Mum said very cleverly, like a bullfrog. You know how bullfrogs do that drop and pause? So if you're feeding and you can see your baby doing lots of sucks but no swallows, do some compression. So you just pop your hand on the breast, gently push in, and that just creates a manual flush of milk. So you can literally just push the milk into your baby's mouth, and you will just sort of see, like, they'll be like snoozing, and then all of a sudden their little eyes open and they just start going gulp, 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 gulp. So compression is where you put your hand flat on the breast, push in and hold for 20 seconds, and then move around, push in and hold for 20 seconds. So you just work your way around the breast. So that will speed up the feed, and that will keep your baby swallowing so that your feeds become more efficient. Now, sometimes what we can also find is that when your baby is getting a lot of milk very, very quickly, you can also find that your baby pulls off and is a bit like, whoa, that's too much milk. So if you find that your baby's already swallowing, don't compress. Now, I'm not too sure what kind of information you ladies are getting at the moment, because typically what happens is you get a lot of conflicting advice, but with people not being around, one of the benefits is that you're not going to be too confused, okay? So in terms of what I'd like you to do, just as a baseline, is feed every 3 hours from start to start. Wake your baby up during the day, offer both sides at each feed, because your baby can decide whether she wants the second side. Do a wind and nappy change in the middle of the feed, so between breasts, so that we wake your baby up and your baby is going to be happy to feed from the other side. Have a look at how your baby's feeding. So assess your feed. If your baby isn't doing the big swallows, then do your compression and help baby along. And the last thing I'll say is that mums will always say, or are often told, feed your baby until the breast is empty. But how do I know my breast is empty? So the way you know that your breast is empty is that once you've latched your baby onto the breast, if you're compressing, so compression creates flow, if you're compressing and you've worked your way around the breast and your baby's just sucking but isn't swallowing, it's fair to say that your breast is temporarily empty, okay? And at that point, you can take baby off and offer the other side. You'll know that your baby's getting the right balance of milk if poos are nice and yellow, okay? So from birth, for the first 10 days, we want to see that your baby's poos change from black and they move all the way through to yellow by about day 10. If your baby's poos become yellow before day 10, you are doing a great job and your baby's getting a lot of milk. So that's brilliant, okay? But once your baby's poos are yellow, we want them to stay yellow, okay? So as long as they stay in yellow, you know that your baby's always getting to the right balance. Sometimes if you switch between breasts too quickly before the breast is, emptier or empty enough, baby's poos can go back to spinach green. So the first 10 days, you want to make sure your baby's poos go from black to yellow. Once they're yellow, they remain yellow, okay? If they go back to spinach green, then we want to make sure that maybe we're feeding on the first side a bit longer before you offer the second side. So that's just a little brief overview of what to expect in the early days and how to know that your baby's getting enough milk. And also just generally in terms of feeding, in terms of timings, what to expect. As you ladies are all different, you're going to have different mum and baby combinations. And what I mean by that is your mum, your cup size, or your breast size, and your baby size, how old your baby is, how big your baby is, how big your breasts are, your nipple shape and size. So it's impossible to say that you're all going to have the same breastfeeding experience. But when you know basically what to do and what to look out for, you're going to feel a lot more empowered. I hope this video helps you, and I'm here to help you and support you in this very, very strange time. I want it to be a beautiful experience for you because becoming a mum is so incredible, and I want it to be special, but for all the right reasons.